Okay, so we were talking a little bit about maintenance, and you know, sometimes we hear like native plants are no maintenance or they are low maintenance, and I think certainly there is some maintenance associated with native plants, like with any garden. You know, we already talked about cleanup and cutting back. Ideally, that should happen in late winter, very early spring. Certainly, particularly until the garden is grown in, there will be some weeding. And the other thing I actually really like about native plants is that they are so much more dynamic. You know, we often see like NANDINA or like barberry in a garden. And sure, they're extremely reliable. They often, like, they sit there, they go through their cycle, they don't really change a lot. But they have very little value, and I also think they're actually kind of boring, you know, because they look very much the same year after year. But what I really like about native plants is they are super vibrant. You know, we just passed by the echinacea. I mean, you can drive down Founders Drive and you see that echinacea like from a long stretch away, because it has a lot of color. You see all the pollinators. Right here we have the rattlesnake master. It's, to me, I think it's a really very architectural plant. At the same time, it's really well behaved. I think it works well in a planting bed. It doesn't spread out too much, but very unusual. And so it's, to me, it's a very exciting, very different plant. Certainly a conversation starter if you have people come to your house. You know, in terms of watering, I definitely think most native plants can make it through hot and dry summer and just be fine. I think supplemental water, particularly in July, October, September, can just keep them looking a little nicer, but they certainly will survive without watering. Certainly don't need fertilizer unless they're in a pot. But cleanup, general maintenance, and you know, not every plant likes where you plant it. So we certainly see things maybe dying back, or they don't do well, or maybe they don't come back next year, right? And occasionally that's normal. And then you need to select something that's better suited for the soil. But certainly I would expect a certain amount of maintenance, and particularly you know, if people are looking for a more formal garden planted with natives, then you put the same amount of work in to keep it looking nice, like you do with a regular garden. So I think that's expected.
A lot of people are looking for color, like they might pick burning bush, which is bad, or NANDINA, things that have berries. There's lots of native plants.
Oh my gosh, yes. We have amazing winter interest. I mean, certainly ILEX verticillata, that's our native deciduous ILEX, amazing red berries, and certainly they benefit wildlife. And you know, like in winter, I mean, it's such a show of red berries. I also like BEAUTYBERRY, and that has these has really nice, like light green leaves, and then it gets these amazing purple berries. And again, maintenance, I usually cut mine back like every 2 years, give it a really good haircut, because it tends to get a little larger, doesn't get out of hand. You know, I think it's still relatively easy to maintain. Certainly, I mean, in terms of perennials, I think there is a tremendous amount of color, winter interest. And I also love using grasses, because, you know, in late summer you certainly have, like you can see actually the panicum already looks great, and you know, it stays around like all winter long. And then, as I said, you see the snowfall on it, and then you see it move, particularly in fall and winter, and it's so beautiful. So I think they're a lot more interesting than most non-native plants.
And if your residents had any questions about them, they can always come and talk to you?
Yes, and so we have, I mentioned our formal education programs, but we also have available residents just can email us, and we always get back to them and with information. Yeah.